Welcome back to the Headbanger. This week I'm joined by a good friend and, might I say, a fantastic man, Matt Pitell. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
So I know you're new to the Headbanger. You've never heard any of our podcasts. So just give you a little rundown. There's this one question that we start with on the show. And it's part of a continuing experiment. I call it. I mean, our results have been incredible on the past 7 shows or whatever we've done. So it's called the Owen Chase effect. Don't worry about it too much. Just I want to know what is your favorite color, and please go into detail as to why it's your favorite color.
I'd probably have to say orange, just because my car's orange, and I just like the color orange right now. It usually swings like it used to be black, but I'm feeling orange.
Okay. So I know I guess like part of your personality is kind of like go with the flow, kind of, like meh. I mean, there's definitely things that you are passionate about, and I've seen you not like shift between passions, but definitely like put more focus into one thing, and like really like just crush it. So I feel like I mean, do you ever feel like that kind of translates into just basic preferences in your life, like your favorite color, just like kind of like whatever I'm feeling, I'll go with it.
Yeah, definitely. Like sometimes I'll focus really hard on music, practice like an hour to 2 hours every day, bust my hands up. Then another day I'll go and shoot for 4 hours, practice my clay shooting, and then just basically I kind of like focus on one thing at a time and take it one step at a time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're gonna tear up your hands playing bass, and then you'll tear them up on the bars, right?
Yeah, man.
So I actually wanted to ask you about that. Your most recent like development in a passion has been this calisthenics thing. It's kind of a shame that this is just audio because I wish we could do it before and after. Like even just in a year's progress from right before you started really getting into calisthenics and up until this point, like you've changed quite a bit,
Yeah.
and definitely for the good. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, no, this is gonna be so weird. No homo. It's like your muscles have really developed. You definitely look like you're in much better shape than you used to be. But I mean, I know like transitioning from wrestling and all that stuff. Like how has the mental aspect of training for calisthenics affected you? And is it any different from past sports that you've been involved in?
Yeah, well, calisthenics has been great, or street workout, call it whatever you like. I've heard it both ways, but it's really changed me. Like, it's given me an outlet to go and work out. So instead of doing homework like 5 hours a day, I can go to the bars and take my mind off of it. And instead of like just sitting down and eating a bag of chips, I'm actually like bettering my body and my mind at the same time. So to switch from like a school sport to calisthenics, it's a lot different because whenever you go to practice, you're like, okay, coach, what am I doing? And they tell you what to do and you do what they say. But with street workout, you're pretty much show up and you're like, hey, I'm going to try and do a backflip off of the bar today. Let's see if I don't die. So you have a lot greater risk because you have no safety nets whenever you're just literally on the street doing it. But you also know how to gauge whether you know what to do or not.
So you're really in tune with your body.
Yeah,
And,
you get to know it. Like, you can know where your body is at all time in relation to the bar, because if you don't, you're going to eat it pretty hard.
Yeah.
And the only way you learn that is from eating it pretty hard.
That's true. It's like it's kind of the same way that you've said that like your gun is like an extension of yourself. Like I don't know. I've shot guns before, but never like, done clay shooting. I've never
Yeah.
like shot for the purpose of accuracy and like precision and all that stuff. So I don't know. For those that don't really know what clay shooting is or how it works, you want to give us a quick rundown
Yeah.
and then just tell us like how is that different like in your discipline to like maybe what you put into calisthenics?
Yeah, so clay shooting, I've been competing for 5 years on both the state and national level, and I specialize in sporting clay shooting. So that's basically golf, but with clay birds. So it's a 16 to 18 course station. So you have different stations with different amounts of targets at them, and you get 2 targets per station. Like there's 2 different targets, and they're sent out in pairs, and you have to be able to keep your head in the game and basically break as many as possible and be as consistent as possible. And like you were saying, like the gun becomes an extension of you. Like most people when they are playing video games, they look at their sight whenever they're playing like a first person shooter or something. They're really focusing on the gun to person relationship. But now I don't even look at my gun. Like I don't even know I'm holding it sometimes because I'm just pointing and breaking targets. So just what they focus in sporting clays is consistency. You have 100 targets and you need to break as many of them as possible, and there's so many repetition. So definitely getting like that we have a pre-shot routine, so before we call pull on every pair, we do the same thing over and over again, and that consistency has definitely translated into my life, and also the mental aspect of not giving up when you fail, because some days you'll get to like practice and you'll miss this one target 50 or 60 times in a row, and you just have to keep flinging lead at it until you eventually figure it out. And I think that's why I like both clay shooting and calisthenics, because it gives me a new challenge that I have to figure out on my own.
So kind of, I mean, obviously your gun is for sport, like clearly for sport. But I know we had a big conversation about it once, because it was kind of a joke, but you were saying like, if baseball players should be able to bring their bats into school, I should be able to bring my gun because I'm the only one that can like build it and all that. But in all seriousness, on that topic, I wanted to ask you about like gun control.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to know your opinions on it straight up. I guess we'll just start with there. Like what's going through your head when I talk about that?
So with gun control, it's really hard with the world we live in nowadays. Like you used to be able to go to school, put your shotgun in your locker, then grab it and go hunting right after school. But we don't live in that world anymore. And over the years, I realized that with all of the school shootings and all of that we don't need assault rifles. Yeah, they're fun to shoot. Yeah, there's a certain competition called 3-gun where you have to use an assault rifle, but you don't need it. Like, you don't need to hunt with a semi-automatic rifle. And we definitely need changes. The background checks are really flimsy. Like, I went to a shoot last year, actually. My dad put a ticket in for a shotgun, and he ended up winning it. He just filled out a basic background check, and he walked away with a gun that day. So we definitely need something new, and I don't know what that is. It's very hard, but the NRA needs to budge, and also the shooters themselves, because they need to realize that things are changed, and like we're not going to stop these like mass shootings unless we get rid of the means to do them. But then again, you have to realize that we have the Second Amendment and we can't just break that.
So yeah, oh god. I mean, the issue is definitely complicated and divisive. But do you see like any path like to control that's going to give equality for both sides? Or I mean, is there any, like, in your opinion and in your own thoughts, like, is there a way that we can do that? Because I don't think it's realistic for us to ban guns.
Yeah.
It's definitely not. I mean, it's really not in our constitution, but it's also just not like part of our culture.
Yeah.
Guns are just American culture, whatever. um. So I don't think that's the answer, and there definitely can't have less regulation because that would be going in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So what do you think might be a good happy medium?
I think that they should limit gun purchases to hunting. So basically, you're not allowed to hunt with a semi-automatic rifle, to my knowledge, and all of it should be bolt action. If you want to buy a gun that looks like an assault rifle, it has to be bolt action. I think that all guns should rather be bolt action, over and under, lever action, or pump, besides shotgun, because shotguns you can plug them, so you can only put 2 shots in them at a time. Like my competition gun is a semi-automatic, but you can only put 2 shells in at a time because of the plug in it, so we can just fabricate certain guns to have those restrictions on them. And basically, like, just remove the semi-auto rifles from purchase, like how Dick's did. Dick's removed all their assault rifles, which are all semi-automatic. So we just need to be smart about it now and not give people the access. And we definitely need more background checks and better background checks, because there should be no way a person with mental disabilities should be allowed a gun.
Oh yeah. Well, another interesting part of that, how do you feel about bump stocks? And for those that don't know, it's a bump stock is like you can unscrew the top and the stock will like come back. So if you hold forward on the barrel, the recoil will create a simulation of semi-automatic weapon fire.
Yeah.
And it is, I mean, you have to get like approved or like an ATF approved thing to own one of those. So if they hear like this gunfire and they come to your house and they're like, "Do you have an AR?" You're like, "No, it's this," and then you can prove it. But I feel like that's another area of like a very gray area. I want to know your thoughts on those kinds of weapons.
I don't think that you need them. Like, some of the best times shooting that I've had has been shooting 1 shot at a time, or like bouncing a can with a bolt action. Like, you don't need to just fire out as many shells as possible to have a fun time. Yeah, it's fun, but it's really not worth it. Like, you're not getting better. You're not becoming a marksman. You're not being a sportsman anymore. You're just being a Yahoo. So, like, I focus on accuracy and, like, consistency and trying to better off myself mentally through clay shooting. And I don't see a reason to even need one of them. I mean, yeah, it's fun if you want to blast off 100 rounds in like 5 minutes, but to be honest with you, who has that kind of money anyway?
No, definitely not me, that's for sure.
Yeah, dude.
We're both poor now. They're going into college, so
yeah, dude.
Yeah, and so, well, do you have I mean, going away from all that, like, crazy policy stuff, do you have any plans for like competing in clay shooting and or calisthenics at Case? Is there any outlet for you?
So Case is literally in downtown Cleveland, so it's really hard to find courses that have sporting clays. So there's one course that's about an hour away, and I might go to some local competitions there once in a while. I'm still going to try and stay with the team I've been shooting with for 5 years, the Lawrence County Young Guns. I'm hoping that I can coach next year and compete. So once I get off of school in May, I'll come back and I'll coach all the little kids and teach them gun safety and everything like that. Speaking about gun safety, I've been to several competitions with over 1,000 shooters at them, and I've never seen a single injury. So another thing that we need to do is have gun safety, as it's not stressed enough to just the average gun owner. So, like, a lot of times the school shooter, for example, grabs their parent's gun. That gun should be locked in a closet with a lock on the trigger. You know?
Yeah.
Like, there's certain precautions that need to be taken by every gun owner to prevent these from occurring in the future.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Because the worst injury I've ever had was I got smacked in the face with my gun from recoil.
Yeah.
Actually, I did get shot once, but we're fine from
Matt,
that.
what? Oh my God. Okay, back up. Please explain that.
So the course I was shooting at is a circle, and some guy was using high velocity, high brass ammunition, which is not allowed on that course. And they even specified in the pre-shoot meeting that these shells aren't allowed, but some kid used it anyway. And while we were shooting at one station, there was a high chandelle, and so they were pointing their guns up, and on the station across the course, we were getting peppered.
Oh, okay.
But
so it wasn't super bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Definitely like, this guy's breaking the rules.
Yeah. This could be dangerous.
Okay.
Someone could lose an eye. It felt like getting hit with a BB gun if you ever
Okay.
got shot with one of them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean,
It's scary, but
yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like that could have been better. I mean, they don't do like equipment check or anything.
No, they should do that though. That would be smart.
Yeah.
But usually in those team competitions, the team provides the ammo for you, and you use the ammo that they gave you. But I guess his gun wouldn't work without the high velocity, because some guns you need higher velocity and high brass to make it eject, because they're hunting rifles, not sporting clay rifles.
Yeah.
I mean shotguns. Sorry, I'm tired.
It's all good, man. It's been a long week. Well, anyway, don't get too tired on me yet, because we're gonna go to a new realm here. So just letting you know, if you feel uncomfortable with any question that I ask, you can by all means pass. But I definitely wanted to ask you about your kind of spiritual journey that you've been taking. Do you mind kind of like dissecting that a little bit?
I mean, I haven't been religious for a long time, because I just lost like faith in the Christianity. I just didn't like the church and how it like was functioning. So for a long time I've been atheist, like not believing in anything. But lately I've been thinking that Buddhism is like some parts of Buddhism, like some parts are just like, that's kind of dumb, but like that's with all religions. But really, like, suffering and their ideas of suffering, I've really like
they've really connected with
me.
Sure.
Because of like all the schoolwork I've been doing and everything, and like my quest to like for my career has really like put a lot of strain. And like the Buddhism like philosophy really like was like, hey, that's what I'm going through right now, this makes sense. Like suffering comes from desire, and you won't, if you have a desire, you're going to suffer for it. But that suffering makes it all worthwhile to get it in the end. And the more you suffer, the better it's going to feel whenever you finally achieve that goal.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, I know that for, I mean, really as long as we've been friends, close enough friends to kind of like talk about that sort of thing, it's always been, I mean, you're such a driven and ambitious person, and I mean, at NA, people like that, often, I mean, dig holes for themselves sometimes because of all the AP courses that stack up. I mean,
I did that.
yes. I mean, we're all guilty. Like everyone on an AP track, like it's so hard to back up and be like, do I need to do this?
Do I really need an
Yeah,
AP
so
psych credit?
It's yeah, but like that, by just like taking all those courses and stuff, as well as all the other things that you do and excel at, quite frankly, like in your calisthenics, and it used to be like wrestling and things like that, and your clay shooting, it definitely adds a ton of pressure. And so I don't know. I mean, in my personal opinion, of course I respect all religions, and I've probably had the best conversations about them with people that are, well, Muhammad is a good example. We had a great conversation about Islam and Christianity, but I think that atheism there's a certain quality to it that just like, how can you take that route? I mean, I'd like to know your thoughts on it. Like, when you were kind of devoted to that mindset, was there ever like an overwhelming sense of nihilism that took you over? Like, as if there's no creator and there's no purpose, then what does this mean and whatever, Is there, your thoughts?
Well, I still have a pretty nihilistic view, but there's definitely nihilism with atheism, but really I just didn't care. Like, I didn't care like if there is a god or if there wasn't a god, and if he created everything or if something else did, or we were created by aliens,
Yeah.
I just was focusing in the present, and I wasn't worrying about life after death. I still don't worry about it because I'm trying to live my life how I want to live it, and I want to do what I find enjoyable, and hopefully help other people with the career path I'm going to take in biomedical and chemical and biomolecular engineering at Case. Because hopefully I can rather help amputees or maybe cure a strain of cancer. Just something to help people. We'll see what comes up, what research I can work on and help with, but just living in the present, man. That's how I've been living.
Absolutely.
Well, also in the future, but the future for the present, if that makes sense.
Well, I think there was and I don't remember specifically. I think Eckhart Tolle said something about it, where you have to be. I mean, he always is saying be in the now, and because this is the only thing that you can change.
Yeah.
The past is gone. Don't
Yeah.
even think about that. And the future hasn't come yet. Of course, exactly what you've been doing, planning for the future is smart and definitely healthy and good. But if you wish you were in the future for some better reason or something, then you're just going to keep doing that until there is no future.
Yeah. It's going to fly by you.
Yeah. So, okay, well, I had two follow-up questions. One of which, when you say nihilistic view, I mean, the way I interpret your view and kind of your personality as a whole is just you have certain things that you definitely put a lot of energy into.
Yeah.
And a lot of those areas we cross, and that's why we're good friends, and we've done some questionable but also really fun things, especially on at the calisthenics bars,
Yeah.
like our winter sessions and the rainy ones. But
Oh, those are
oh
sketch.
god, yeah. Everybody, for those of you that follow either myself or Matt on Instagram, there's definitely some videos out there of the two of us and also Muhammad sometimes
Yeah.
doing some fun things. You should definitely go check them out.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like, yeah, I definitely see your energy being put into certain things, but I also have seen your laid back attitude of like, I take what life gives me and kind of go with the flow.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I don't interpret it as like nothing matters. It's just like,
Yeah.
I'll go with it. Like pick up
Yeah.
and run. Is that more of like what you mean?
Well, by nihilism, I mean in the end, once everything's said and done, like nothing really matters at the end. Like,
Okay.
you need to reflect on yourself and be happy with the life that you lived, and you need to not make any regrets. Like, I do that a lot. Like, I'm like, man, if I would have skipped a grade of math, I'd be one of the top people in this class, and I could have maybe gotten a better scholarship, or I could have like skipped maybe my 2 intro classes instead of 1. But now that I'm at this point, I'm like, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that's the way I want to view life. Like, yeah, I want to do something important, but like in the end, like I'm gonna be gone. So
Yeah.
like everything I've done will just be passed on, and I can't control that. So
That's a really, really good point. Okay. Yeah. I think there's a lot of relief in that.
yeah,
And I think, in the same way that, as Christians, I mean, there's obviously that attitude of service, and passing on to the next generation wisdom and materials and things, but the fact that we can, serve Christ, and then He will like forgive us of our sins and bear
Yeah.
those on the cross for us. I mean, it's so relieving to have that grace and that satisfaction that when you die, if you're satisfied with who you are, like,
Yeah.
there shouldn't be a fear of death. I mean,
yeah.
like, do you have any fears about dying?
No, because like yeah, it would all end, and like everybody would be sad, but really I don't have any regret on like my life decisions. So like if I died, yeah, there's some things that I needed to wanted to accomplish, not needed. But yeah, like it's nothing really. Like everybody dies, and it's gonna happen sometime. I mean, I'm not going to choose to die.
Of course not. No.
And like, let's say I got cancer, I'd put all my effort in trying to cure that cancer myself instead of having someone else do it for me, because I really prefer to do things myself and try and do it, solve my own problems and fix my own issues.
Yeah. So my other question, I keep bouncing around, but yeah, my other follow-up question from this conversation. Yeah. So as you're going through, or as you've been, on this spiritual quest of like, man, it sounds so cool when I say it that way, but like, no, for real. When you're kind of like finding your own way. Yeah. And your path to spirituality. I've definitely seen a positive impact from when you've this has been since we read Siddhartha primarily, right? Or that was a big moment for you?
Well, like what was the book last year that we read that was about Buddhism? Didn't we read one?
No. Well, are you thinking of Man's Search for Meaning?
Kind of.
Because that was very inspiring.
Yeah.
Viktor Frankl's book.
Yeah, that was a good one. Then, like, Siddhartha really hit it home with, like, how he searched for wealth and he got that wealth and he still wasn't happy. So that was what he didn't want. Like, that didn't fulfill him. Like, he thought it would. But then being in nature and being on the river, that fulfilled his happiness. And pretty much everything I do costs a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I knew from an early age that I wanted to get a career that will pay good money.
Mm-hmm.
So it just happened that my real passion with academia led me to biomedical engineering and tissue engineering, and that hopefully will pay good money so I can still continue to do all the things I like to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, clay shooting. Like,
Yeah, it's
expensive.
It's definitely expensive.
It's really expensive, man. Like, I can't practice like every day because I can't afford that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't even practice twice a week. Like, the only way I can practice every week is because of the team. And I want to give a huge shout out to Lawrence County Young Guns because, like, they give me coaching, shells, and targets for $200 for like 8 to 10 weeks. And if you guys are interested in clay shooting, definitely check us out because it's a great program and you'll definitely get better.
Oh, for sure. So, do you think that, I mean, as you continue to like go on this journey and really understand more of your philosophy and you know, how you see the world and your place in the human experience, is there like one creator or like you think could you maybe like mess with the possibility of that, it doesn't have to be God or Allah necessarily, but definitely, I want to know your thoughts on that, like a kind of some divine being of some sort.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't really care if there is one or not because he, she, it, they, whatever pronoun you want to use, that's PC nowadays. They're not going to interfere with my life and change it. The only person that's going to do that is myself. And I think it was Tale of Two Cities, wasn't it? Where they really focused on that God isn't going to do it for you. Right?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a while ago. But you have to do it yourself, and you can't wait around for God to do something for you.
Yeah.
And you can't rely on that. Like, my uncle, who passed away from leukemia, his child died in a fire like 2 days after Christmas.
Damn.
Yeah, and he was like, if there is a God, like, why would he do this to me? Why would he make my child suffer? Yeah. So, like, if there is one, he's not going to play a role in my life. And if there isn't one, then, well, okay. Just gonna try and make it as good of a ride till then.
Yeah. Well, I'm always gonna encourage you in that direction, Matt.
Yeah.
But it's of course, it's not me. I'm not the one that's going to make you do anything.
Yeah.
So, but I think you're definitely, it's been great to like connect on that level and see, like how you've progressed. And I'm glad that there is a part of your life that is definitely thinking about, who am I? What's my place here? Things matter. Like that's definitely a great place to start it anyway. And you've pretty much done this all on your own.
Yeah.
So it's really inspiring. Anyway, so yeah, it's a lot of deep talk. We're just about running out of time, so I just want to like wrap up here, and I want to give you a quick plug, just like 30 seconds, for tell us what's going on in your life, anything new coming up, or like anything that people should know about.
Yeah, so I'm a part of Steel City Calisthenics. You can find us on Facebook. like we're trying to raise some more money for the workout park, which is for Officer Christine Bartman, who was killed in service. She was a police officer in Zillionople, and we're pretty much finished with our first design of T-shirts, and we're going to be selling them and hopefully putting that towards the park and basically trying to add on to her legacy and make it like a calisthenics like location, like put us on the map, because like US isn't that good at street workout compared to the rest of the world. And our only hubs are in Miami and California on Muscle Beach. Like there's no, and New York with Bar Stars, but we're trying to make it so more people can get involved, because it's a great way to get in shape without spending any money, because I know a lot of people are going into college and they're going to be broke. So I'm waiting till I get to college to start lifting weights, because I can't afford a gym membership right now since I don't have a job. So it's been a good way for me to work out and build a lot of upper body strength during it. Well, in my wait for college.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, I've kind of watched this project flourish, so you definitely have my endorsement as well. And as things keep rolling on and the school year comes to an end, you'll probably see me there more. If anybody is interested in
trying it out,
yeah, coming up to the bars or buying a T-shirt or whatever, you can talk to me. I'll probably tell you to talk to Matt, so you can talk to Matt directly.
Yeah.
And Muhammad is involved too, right?
Yeah, Muhammad did all of the designs.
Yeah.
So basically, I came up with the idea. Then I'd pretty much make up something that looks completely like garbage. Then Muhammad would make it look good.
He's the designer in the group. So, but yeah, so you guys can contact any three of us, and one way or another, we'll get you the information you need. It's definitely worth it. So anyway,
if you just want to learn something.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like, just hit me up. Like, if you want to learn how to muscle up, let me know.
It's also just really fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Especially if you go to like a parkour place and it's safe, because then that takes away some of the sketch factor.
Some of it. You're still a little sketched.
Yeah.
When you're like, let me do a backflip on solid ground.
Let me do a double backflip on trampoline.
Oh no. Well, anyway,
yeah.
Don't want to. If anyone's interested in attempting some of those things, just let Matt here know. But yeah, we're that's about all I had for today. So thanks for being on the show, man. It was really good to get you on here.
Thanks for having me, man.
Alrighty. Yeah, I'm really glad you were able to come. So anyway, this was the Headbanger. Stay tuned for more content coming your way very soon. Stay tuned, Nash.